Hello plant lovers, Matthew in Melbourne, welcoming you back to my channel, Hello Plant Lovers, and thanks for finding me. Today, plant lovers, it is time for a little follow-up session with our dear friend, Cattleya Maxima mountain form. Why, I hear you cry. Well, you might remember the video I made about Maxima, which I will link up here and below. I bought it as a division, and when I got it, it was incredibly top heavy, so I had to wire the orchid back into its pot and just make sure it was stable. I repotted it, and then almost immediately the darling thing burst into bloom, which made it even more top heavy. I was a little concerned because, as you can see, there are three old canes here which are at the back of the plant from the division, which were already looking a little tired, and they immediately kind of withered and died. Now, I am the eternal optimist, and I thought, it's all fine. It's all fine. The plant has got some healthy new growths, and it's got some nodes, so all will be well. And in fact, plant lovers, it is, and that is why I wanted to do a little follow-up, because it's kind of interesting. Okay, so the first thing we will remember is that it was very wobbly in the pot, and now observe, it is completely stable, and that is because, plant lovers, it has the most extraordinary new root system, and I'll come in closer and show you. So this is, in fact, I think, the first and perhaps most important lesson about orchid growing, and that is great roots. Without a healthy root system, you're not going to have a healthy plant, and without a healthy plant, you're probably not going to get any blooms, and you probably won't get new growth. It'll just stay, and I've had orchids that have done that. They just stayed as leafy lumps actually for years, and one of them actually has just started to do something, so maybe I'll do a video about that one. But anyway, let's get back to Maxima. Healthy roots. So whenever I receive an orchid, I always repot it. And you do your research on what that particular orchid might like, whether it's epiphytic, lithophytic, terrestrial, etc. Mix your mix accordingly. And here, though, is my secret. You've got to promote root growth. Now, whether it's a seedling or a division such as this, so a much larger plant, you still want to get as good a root growth as you can. It just gives the plant a good start in life. And I use my secret wonder product, and the packet is so dirty you can't see, but it is in fact mycorrhizal fungi. Now, mycorrhizal fungi serves this purpose in soil, and you find it in soil all over the world to varying degrees. What it does is it works with the roots of the plant to help extract nutrients from the soil to make them available for the plant root. Now, the plant without mycorrhizal fungi wouldn't be able to really nourish itself enough just from the root system that it has. So it's a very important symbiotic relationship. Most soil and most potting media is going to have some kind of healthy fungal in it, which is going to be beneficial to the plant. Just adding a little bit more. So every time I repot, I just put the tiniest little dash. It's like cayenne pepper, you don't want to overdo it. Just a little dash in the mix towards the bottom and mix it up. I don't let the roots sit on it directly, not that I think that will make any difference whatsoever. So I have a layer of the media, then a little bit of a sprinkling, tiniest sprinkling of the mycorrhizal fungi powder, then a bit more media, and then I pop the orchid in it properly. I also put 1 or 2 grains of a slow release fertilizer in that level as well. Once you've watered that in, that fungi then starts doing its magic stuff. And look, what can I say? All I can say is that I have tremendous root growth on all of my orchids, and I'm convinced it's the fungi. And the other thing to know is the fungi can't hurt the plant. So it's not an either or situation. You're simply not going to do any damage by putting it in. So there you go. First rule. And if you look at this, I can't remember how long ago I got it. As you can see from the previous video, very rocky, and it did not have a very good established root system because it had been divided and cut. However, it is now extraordinary. So I think that is proof of the pudding. Next thing about Cattleya, as you probably know, is that they flower from new growths. And plant lovers observe 1 and 2 new growths, and they are powering away, and they look very, very healthy. So that makes me very happy about the future of this plant, because quite clearly it is happy and it's thriving. It's got new roots coming everywhere, and it's got its 2 new growths, which is wonderful. We have still also got 3 canes which are still very much alive, 1, 2, and this leafless one here. This is the cane that flowered this year. And this cane also has the echo of a sheath. Now I do understand that they can actually rebloom from canes. So again, don't cut them off, let them die naturally, which brings us to this point here. I have these 3 canes. Now they are now quite squishy and quite brown, and this one's actually quite dry. It is time to remove them, but I'm not going to repot the orchid to get right down into the rhizome because it's so healthy. So what I'm going to do is use some magic tools, and this, I think this is my favorite thing on earth. And I've forgotten the name of it now. It's a thing. It's a thing that you use to separate seeds and seedlings. Oh, I forgot the name. Anyway, wonderful things. You can find them in specialist plant shops. But look, it's like a little mini shovel at one end and a little pointy, sticky thing at the other. Very good for picky, pointy tasks in your pots. So what I'm going to come and do is move away some of the media, expose these canes down to the rhizome, and then, plant lovers, use my fantastic Japanese secateurs, which were a gift to myself this Christmas, to snip off these dead canes right at the rhizome. And FYI, no matter what type of secateur you have, always clean them, because I've had so many go rusty and I feel really bad about throwing them away in this age of instant disposability. So what I use with this is camellia oil. You can buy camellia oil from, I don't know, well, I got it from the shop I bought these from, but it's literally the oil of the camellia, and it cleans and nourishes the blades to stop them going rusty and gives you a bit of lifespan. So there you go. Handy tip. Okay, let's get to our surgery. So the first thing is to move away all the media from around the canes that you're trying to snip and try and reveal as much of that rhizome as you can. And I really want to be careful so I don't damage any roots, because as we've just said, I did repot this and it is doing so well. I am not about to repot it again. But what you can see here, and I'll point with my surgical implement, you can see that that is the point where these dead canes are attached to the rhizome. So that is where I'm going to try and get in as close as I can and snip them off. Let's do this one first. There we go. And as you can see, it is fairly dry. Snip. There we are. Totally dry. Snip that one. Excellent. Right. I'm just going to put that media back that I took out. Task complete. There we are, plant lovers. Newly shorn Cattleya Maxima mountain form, because there is a lowland form which has slightly different characteristics. I forgot to mention, always sterilize your secateurs and, in fact, your other little instruments with rubbing alcohol before you use them. You don't want to spread any germs or COVID to your orchids. And here is those old canes, just to give you an idea. You see they are very mushy, very dead, but no sign of any kind of disease or infestation. I think this is just quite simply a natural part of the birth, death and life cycle of Cattleya Maxima. So I'm not really concerned about those at all. And given the health of the plant, I am very, very excited to see if we get great blooms again this season. So they flower in late winter. So yes, we'll just have to see what happens. There we are, plant lovers. Thank you for watching. Thanks for finding my channel. And if you have any questions, please let me know. There we have the beautiful new growths coming up, and I look forward to seeing you next week with whatever orchidy or unusual plant adventure I might have. Until then, see you later.